Hello and welcome to another video, and it's more Tommy Tallarico Amico talk. But before I get into that, I'm just going to say something about No Time to Die, which I might have mentioned this before, I can't remember. I might have sort of buried it somewhere in another video, but I'm going to mention it at the start because no one watches sort of late into well, actually, a lot of people do watch late into the video, but sometimes it does drop off. If you're not interested, skip forward a few minutes. But one thing, right? Basically, Daniel Craig's only decent Bond film is Casino Royale. Question it's a question of sport. Quantum of Solace wasn't too bad. It was all right. It wasn't brilliant, but it was all right. Spectre and Skyfall were bloody awful. The worst Bond films ever. But of course, all the big name critics say, "Oh, it's brilliant! It's 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, 5 stars, brilliant, excellent. Give it all the awards." The only reason they do that is because they give out fake reviews. The big name critics give out fake reviews so they can get their name on the poster, so they can be part of the elite that say, "Oh, aren't we all fantastic? We all love the Bond film, and we all get our publication's name on the poster." It's an absolute load of crap. Best to just take your opinions from people who actually go see the films. I've not seen this one yet. I mean, after the last two, I'm just not fussed about. I'm not in a rush to go and see it, basically. And quite frankly, the only thing that was interesting me in perhaps seeing it on the big screen is the fact that, apart from the fact that, because usually all 12 certificate in the cinema, and every single Daniel Craig film so far, I think this one is an actual proper 12, but every other Daniel Craig Bond film has been cut to get a 12 certificate. Definitely Spectre, because that's there are a couple of scenes in that, including a horrible eye gouging scene, which I thought, why, it seems a strange thing, to sort of do such a drastic cut to it anyway. But why have an eye gouging scene in a Bond film in the first place? Why would you do that? It just looks ridiculous. But anyway, yeah. So the one thing I was looking at going to see for this Bond film is the fact that I love seeing proper IMAX films in the Viewprint Works in Manchester because they have the facility. They have previously they had 70mm IMAX. Now they have laser IMAX, and they have a screen that can show 1.43:1 IMAX presentations properly. Only a handful of screens in the UK and more abroad. Only a handful of screens in the UK can actually show such films properly. The rest of the IMAX screens claim to be IMAX, but they're just sort of cropped off at 1.9:1, so not much different from a basic TV shape these days. But 1.43:1 is the kind of ratio that Christopher Nolan uses for Tenet, Interstellar, The Dark Knight Rises, and films like that, and Dunkirk. So I understood that No Time to Die. I mean, I understand Dune, the new Dune version, has some IMAX scenes like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. But Bond film was going to have about 30 minutes in IMAX, in proper IMAX like that. And then there was the other problem with Bond is that a Bond film doesn't need to run any longer than 2 hours. This one is 2 hours 43 minutes. Now, Dune is 2 hours 35, but I can imagine that having a story worth showing, worth expanding to in the full 2.5 hours. James Bond, nearly 3 hours long. I don't think so. It's just stupid. I mean, the Bond film, based on what's seen in the trailer so far, just seems to it brings back a baddie from a previous film. The trouble is that they're turning James Bond into a fucking soap opera. It's ridiculous. They bring back what's his name, Christoph Waltz's character in this for God knows whatever reason. The same as Mission Impossible Fallout brought back Sean Harris's character into it for no apparent reason, just for nothing other than to extend the running time. And that film lasted 2.5 hours, and it really didn't need to. That could have been cut down to 2 hours dead easily. That was way over long. And it was just kind of it had some good action scenes, but in between it was pretty bloody dull. So if I do go and see this, I mean, there's no need to rush to it anyway. I mean, the IMAX, they have some good pricing. Sort of regular seat is about £10. The IMAX VIP is about £11.50 or £12. The alternative is the Odeon Trafford Centre, and they used to charge £6 for a basic cinema ticket, which is a really good price. But then they start adding on blockbuster pricing, just basically price gouging, like the eye gouging, just price gouging, and it was going up to like last thing I saw, it's obviously 2020 was a shit show. Although 2020, the Viewprint works. I did go and see Tenet in 70mm IMAX, and the 800, which is a Chinese sort of war film. Absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But because of the pandemic and because of people not going to see anything, Tenet was very poorly attended. And I saw an evening to 9 p.m. screening of the 800, and they were in an auditorium of about 300 seats. There was me, and there was, and right up until the film actually started, I was the only one in the cinema. And then another bloke turned up. I could have had the whole IMAX to myself, but another bloke turned up and sat a few rows in front. I should be mad that I didn't get the whole IMAX to myself for once, but quite frankly, I would rather lots more people had gone to see it because it was a really good film. Especially in Manchester, has a massive Chinese population, and it's a very pro-Chinese film. Why was no one going to see this? It was brilliant. And that was a film that, it was like made in, if I've got the Blu-ray, it's like 2.35 to 1. But the IMAX, it was actually shot in IMAX all the way through, and it was in 2.11 to 1. Bit of an obscure ratio. No reason why, I mean, the traditional ratio for the film was 2.35 to 1. No reason why they couldn't have just put the IMAX ratio on the Blu-ray, but they didn't. God knows why. That's really disappointing. But because it does a little bit of extra height in the image, really did show things off well. Strange things, but anyway, so the last time I was actually at the Odeon Trafford Centre was it was £7. Yeah, to go and see Star Wars in December 2019. It was £7 to go and see that film, and that was pretty poorly attended anyway. And then, but now it's like sometimes it's £8, and now it's a basic minimum of £10 to go and see what it's called No Time to Die. So £10, so the same price. So a standard ticket at Odeon Trafford Centre is the same price as a regular IMAX ticket at Viewprint Works. So you may as well go to the Viewprint Works IMAX. The only problem with that is that you go and try and park in town in Manchester, and they pedestrianise so much of it. I mean, I can understand why they pedestrianise so much of it, but trying to park in the centre of town anyway in the evening was a big enough task as it was. Now when they've roped off so much of it with pedestrianisation, it's even more difficult to try and get a bloody parking space without paying through the nose. So sometimes you might find yourself driving into town, and you could even, unless you try every last street, you could actually end up just going home and not having seen anything. Then if they're not showing Bond properly, why give yourself the hassle? May as well just wait for the thing to come out on bloody Blu-ray. Anyway, but I digress, and what I might do is put timestamps in the video description so that if anyone who wants to avoid my Bond rant can just go and click on the time to get to this point in the video. Because we're talking about Tommy Tallarico, and he's gone a bit mad again. And at the top it says, a subreddit's founders posting history. Is this part of Reddit? I'm not sure whether this is part of Reddit. It must be, because it's got my username at the top. It's all a bit odd. But subreddit drama. It says at the top, a subreddit's founder posting history comes to light. So subreddit founder, you know what I mean. It's full of far-right hate. The mod is forced to resign. However, a user explains that it's not because of the bigotry he has to go, it's because the optics might endanger the group's efforts. I get confused even by the bloody title. But I don't know, I see Tommy being described as someone who's far-right. I mean, in the UK, someone who's far-right is the kind of person who's into Britain First, who's a sort of, skinheads full of they don't like anyone who's not white, basically, and they're just very, very sad, deluded people. Skinheads, yeah, just skinheads, basically, although some are just outright gammons. Some very odd people. I mean, I can't see Tommy being like that because I don't know. He just doesn't seem the type. But he doesn't seem like I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what his politics are. I mean, we in the UK we see both Trump and Joe Biden, and it's like America had a choice between two 70-year-old white men, and it wasn't really much choice at all, was it? They got to choose between a couple of idiots. I mean, the way I saw it was that it's like the Democrats were trying to think, who can we put in, who can we give a go, in power this, who gets to have a turn in power this time? And it's like they thought, well, Trump's had one term in power and he's not going anywhere. Trump will easily win a second term. And so what we want to do is, as a Democrats, what we want, because we're Democrats and this is what we go for, we want something. We've had Obama, we've had our first black president. We also what we want, as well as wanting a first woman president, we want our first female black president. So who can we have? And it looks like they were going to go for Kamala Harris, but they thought, well, if we put Kamala Harris up against Trump, and Trump's easily going to win anyway, then she's lost her chance at being president. So let's not make her president yet. What we'll do is we'll hold her back and just make her vice president. Okay. So who are we going to put in as president this time? Someone who hasn't got a chance. Some bloke who hasn't got a hope in hell of winning. Some bloke who doesn't even know what frigging day it is. Joe Biden. He hasn't got a hope of winning. And then he won. If you believe, because we're not allowed to question it, which means that Joe Biden won fair and square. And he got 12 million more votes than Obama's first election in 2008. So Obama got 69 million votes. Joe Biden got 81 million votes. That's perfectly legit, isn't it? Yes, of course it is. You're not allowed to question it. It's perfectly legit. So, yeah, I don't understand it. It's all a absolute load of bollocks. So anyway, I have no idea what his politics are. I don't really care. All I care is about playing video games, and was the console ever going to come out? And it didn't sound like it was going to. So Tommy says, "Hi folks, a friend sent me this link, and although I prefer not to get involved with these types of things, I've learned the hard way." Well, just don't get involved. You're supposed to be promoting a product. You're supposed to be working on a fucking product. Instead, he's just blah blah blah. You're supposed to be making a fucking console, not writing War and Peace on a fucking Reddit post. Pillock. He says there are some things I feel I need to clarify and talk about at this point. You don't at all. You just need to shut up and just get on with the fucking making a console. I'll only make one post here. He then adds a comment to that, as I prefer not to get into it with anyone, and I also know from experience that my thoughts, feelings, and facts will trigger a certain group to attack and harass me and continue their misinformation campaign by using my words out of context. They will demand answers to their made-up crap. Well, there, Tommy, you've really won everyone over now, haven't you? First off, with by using up insulting language. And then if I answer, they'll call me a liar, say I can't take criticism, and tell me I should be working instead of talking to them. Of course you should be working. Just like Greta Thunberg should have stayed in school, but, idiots of the world unite and run away from what you're meant to be doing. Of course, if I stay silent, which I've been trying to do for months, well, you're not done a very good job of it. They say we're hiding, so definitely a no-win situation, no matter what. But for the record, better to hear it from my mouth than a group of liars with an agenda. It's not really. You should just get on with your job and just ignore. You call them haters, you just ignore the people. Just ignore what people are saying and then just get on with making your console. But you're not making your console because you've got nothing to make. So I may as well make a few comments on this subject matter. This will end up being a wall of text, so I apologise in advance. You can stop now if you hate these kind of posts. You've been warned. I'd first like to say that I've made mistakes. Mistakes. Told a bunch of lies about your chip shortage, your fish and chip shortage. Not to the level certain people want you to believe, but mistakes nonetheless. Nonetheless is just a single word. It's not 3 words with hyphenated. It's just a single word. I've been too optimistic at times. You don't fucking say. You thought you could make a console for $150 with all the wizardry, pokery, fuckery in the handheld controllers, and you can't even do that for nearly twice the price. I've wrestled in the mud with folks who I now understand don't care what the truth is, even though I thought if they heard the real facts they would change their minds. I've gotten into immature flame wars, like you're doing now, when trying to defend the truth and defending against personal attacks against me and my family. I mean, people should not be making personal attacks against family and people. You get people who do all sorts of shit like doxing, and I know, I'm not going to go into detail. I know people who've been sort of chased off the platform as a result of things like that, and I hope they come back. But I've experienced that myself with my stalker giving out my personal information on the internet, and I've on various platforms, and I've reported the posts, had them taken down, had the accounts closed. People should not be doing shit like that. It's really shit. I've reported them to the police as well, and the police have gone round to the individual and had their say. We continue. My voice is still going. I sometimes don't know when to shut my mouth and just ignore reading and responding to negativity. I've said things in a way that are meant as a joke, but come across differently to a lot of people. Well, anything in the written form can come across differently. I promised things before the pandemic and had to adjust due to the circumstances. But you could have bought all the chips before the pandemic began. You could have bought it, when you first, even before you first announced the console in October 2018. I'm guilty of sharing too much information and doing too many interviews, which I've stopped. Well, they weren't doing you any good. Certainly not with WB Pete. Just allowing him to fangirl all over you. I could go on, but basically what I'm trying to say is I'm human. And sometimes my East Coast, growing up in the 70s, 80s attitude and personality rubs people up the wrong way and gets me into trouble on the internet. I mean, there's someone in the UK, I don't know what that means, East Coast, growing up in the 70s and attitude. I think just anyone, if you mean just shouting your mouth off, anyone's capable of that. People do stupid things when they were young. I've done stupid things when I was young. And you learn as you grow older. I'm heading towards 50. I'm going to be so fucking knowledgeable by the time I plan to get to Captain Tom's age at the very least, which was 100. He was 100 when he died. I plan to get there, so I've still got another 50 odd years to go, and I'll have so much fucking knowledge by the time I die. What I'm going to do with it then, I don't know. Maybe they can download my brain and put it in a computer so I can carry on living. That'd be good. Probably not going to happen though. But anyway. The Smearing Attack campaign that's been going on by a group of people over the past year has gone to such toxic levels. It's both frightening and disgusting. I received death threats of, I'm not going to use the word, my wife and lots of go commit. So people should not be doing any of that, obviously. I've had, shit over the years. I even remember when I used to use news groups, Usenet news groups in like the it's like early 90s kind of thing. Around the time when I started writing website posts, and I had someone who basically they spoofed. There was someone who went by the name of Megabitch. I remember someone tracked him down, and they sent out an email to about 1,000 people. Well, no, they sent an email out to anyone they could. I don't know whether they did like a dictionary attack, which sends it out to an infinite number of people, basically. But I know at least 1,000 people got it because I had 1,000 replies. So God knows how many actually they sent the email to. But it was just basically saying all kinds of nasty things, saying they would. I've got to try and tone it down for YouTube's algorithm, but basically saying, trying to make it sound like it was me saying this, saying I would like basically bump them off. I would bump the person who received the email. It made it sound like I was going to track them down and bump them off and attack them. I can't use the words, but Tommy uses the word there in relation to what these people said they would do to his wife. And they said that they made that threat in the email that they made to make it seem like it was sent by me. Now, anyone setting up a website is not going to send out a billion emails like that, because that's not the way you advertise a website. It's about the dumbest thing you can do. And the police are going to spot it and track you down anyway. But obviously it wasn't sent by me, and I got so there was I ended up dealing with about 1,000 emails. There was about I think it was about 10 emails from people who actually thought it was real. So that's about 1%. Most of them just thought, well, it's obviously a fake. It's obviously not you who sent this. And there was also some people who said they would try and track down the person who did it. So, it was just a very bizarre time. So, there's just some sick mothers around. There really are. Just don't do it. Don't do it. And again, it goes on. They will dox our employees, investors, game developers, and actively. Well, let's just get to that point first. Doxing is a fucking shitty thing to do. You should not be doing that. You've clearly got no life. If you dox someone, you've clearly got no life than playing with your fucking balls. Or quite frankly, you're so fucking. If you dox someone, you're so fucking inbred that you're playing with your own sister's balls. That's what's happening. Your whole family is a bunch of inbred fucking weirdos, and you're all playing with each other's balls and other genitals. You probably got multiple sets of genitals anyway, given how much fucking inbredity has been going on that's led you to think that doxing is normal. That must be what's going on in your fucking head. And I'm speaking to the people who do the doxing. You know who you fucking are, and you know what you've been doing on YouTube. You people are those fucking inbred hicks, fucking weirdos. Fucking sort your fucking life out. Go get a job. Get out your fucking basement. Just go get a fucking life. And leave the rest of us a fucking alone. Thank you. But then it says they actively harass anyone who has played the console and there's anything nice to say about it. They're not harassing people. I think it's just what I've seen. It's just gentle ribbing. Dozens of YouTubers have quit talking about the Amico, even though they played it and loved it, because of continued harassment. They've not quit because of continued harassment. They've quit because you're not giving them any incentive to talk about it. You just you can come out with all this shit about, you say physical items, and then it's not physical releases. It's now physical products. So you're shifting the goalposts. You're not giving anyone any reason to think this is coming out, because you keep shifting the goalposts, and it's clearly not going to be ready, and it's never going to be ready. And they've given up because they can see it's not coming out. What's there to talk about? It's just embarrassing for them to make people still think that they think that this thing is coming out. Everyone knows it's not coming out. Why don't you just accept that? Why don't you just... Well, no, clearly you don't, because you're just trying to get more funding until perhaps after Christmas, when you'll just wrap up shop, call it a day, fuck off with all the millions you've got from people, and then file bankruptcy. If you were that bothered, Tommy, in trying to bring the Amico to life, sell your fucking house. Sell all those millions of copies of box versions of Night Stalker that we saw in Smash JT's video. All those boxed games that you've got that have been, you know, that you bought up and all you could fucking eBay for loads of money. Sell all of that. All the expensive shit, all the Ferrari or whatever that you gave him a ride in, and all you just sell everything. Go live in a trailer park. Then you'll have millions of dollars, and you can use that to make the Amico. Oh no! You don't want to do that, do you? You want to use other people's money. It's a scam. Oh, we continue. The obsessed anti-Amico stalkers demand we show the consoles and the games to people to play. So, they're not anti-Amico stalkers. We know what we demand, because he then goes on, when we do, people like it, they bully, dox and harass them. I don't think we're not harassing people who are in your videos. That's bullshit. Well, what people like me are asking for is that you show the console clearly working. Pardon me, Windy Pops again. But all we see is just whatever you choose to show us. And you only show a handful of games, maybe a couple of games. Like Astrotrash and Shark. That's all you ever show. Where's Cloudy Mountain? Where's Earthworm Jim 4? Why aren't you showing those off? Why aren't the levels for people to play at these events? So you're not showing off what we're asking. So you've twisted the truth there. You're saying we're showing you're saying show us this, and you're saying we did show you this. You didn't. You're not showing them what we're asking you to. You're just showing the same old shit you've been peddling for the last 3 years. Of course, these same people say I'm lying about this to garnish sympathy. They constantly demand proof, and they just ignore it when they are consistently proven wrong. You liar! You fucking liar! Here is just one small example from someone who I met and showed Amico to him and his family. I didn't know this person beforehand, and he actually made a fair few critical videos about the Amico. I found out he lived in an area and I was already travelling to, so we agreed to meet. His family loved it and spoke openly about it. As soon as he started talking about the positive experience, he was attacked to the point of not wanting to discuss it anymore. I'm not going to show the video. I've had a quick look at it. It's that basically the guy's rambling for about 3 hours, and Tommy links to a point about 49 minutes into the video. Who waffles for 3 hours in a video? I mean, I'm waffling in this video, but I don't waffle it in front of a camera for 3 hours. Christ. There's a guy who just clearly got nothing better to do. Contrary to what a certain group will tell you, I do not call people who criticise us haters. I do not call people who don't like the Amico gaming, I'm not going to use that word, and because it seems to have become a hot topic by some, I was comparing hardcore toxic gamers who go out of their way just to hate on other consoles, saying that it's like they are being blindly hating towards others because they are something they are not. Did I use the wrong analogy? Yep, I sure did. What was he waffling about? This is why Tommy should just concentrate on making his bloody console. Shouldn't have used that term, and I apologise numerous times about it and will apologise here once again, tongue in cheek, blah blah blah. I now realise that strong language has consequences, even when taken out of context. And how he meant, yeah. So he's just written out. This is like Jerry Maguire when he writes out a big long speech and gives it to people and thinks I'm making this great big personal speech to the world, and then he gets fired. Tommy will probably get fired from his own company. It's just he's not helping himself, is he? He's really not. The 3 people from that anti-Amico subreddit who are here trying to defend themselves, this is why you shouldn't even name them either. They're just people with just pointless trolling accounts. Somebody who creates an account, Tommy Poopy Pants, clearly got nothing better to do. They've clearly got nothing better to do. And you are giving them legitimacy by talking about them. He says that some of the more vocal people of the constant and obsessive smear campaign. They go by different names on YouTube, Atari Age, etc., etc., and even run an obsessed website called AmicoGames.com. Go and have a look and ask yourself if these folks are acting normal. They literally spend every waking hour posting something negative somewhere. Well, you're wasting your time here. Their entire online identity revolves around harassing me and trying to destroy a company and product that they don't like. Not trying to play victim, just dropping facts. They actively try to get us cancelled by any means possible. Whether it's contacting the SEC, FTC or our licensors and partners, and even calling venues we'll be at. Recently when we announced we're having a public event, they called and emailed the venue to try and get the event cancelled and actively told people to do the same. Well, here's what you do, Tommy. They are trolls. You just fucking ignore them. By what you're doing now, by mentioning their names here and saying that they also post on all these other groups and what's it, you're giving them legitimacy. You're giving them the oxygen of publicity. As Linda Smith, as the late great Linda Smith, a British comedian, she said, I forget who she said this now. It might have been about God, who was it? What's his name? I can't remember what his bloody name was. It might be Jeffrey Archer, who's a politician. He still is a politician. It's just sadly Linda Smith died of cancer some years ago. But she had a great Radio 4 comedy series called A Brief History of Time Wasting, which is I think it's 2 series, and it's absolutely brilliant. But she had a great phrase, which was, when you're giving someone, for certain people, you give them the oxygen of publicity. They don't even deserve the oxygen of oxygen. And Tommy, stop talking about them. I could. We all have shit in our life. There are certain things from my past. Like say things that happen when you're at school as a kid. When I'm like about 11, 12, 13, I can still remember them. Things, say, some shitty things. I can remember one particular thing that happened on the way home from school. It was like 10 minutes walk home from school, and something shitty that happened to me on the way home. I could go into detail about that right now. But I know if I do that right now, it was something that happened very, very briefly, and I hated it. And it feels like it just happened this afternoon. When I sort of replay it back in my mind, and it makes me as angry now as it did then. I could describe what that is, and then the internet will, as they're saying, Gladiator, what we do now echoes in eternity. I could say that, I could detail what happened now, and everyone will know about it, and they'll repeat it, and it will never die. Whereas if I just don't talk about it, if I just keep it to myself, it will die with me, and it will go away. It will never get mentioned by anyone because I didn't describe in detail or at all what happened. And this is what you should be doing. You should not be mentioning any of this. This whole paragraph should be gone. You should not have included that. Just by including it, you're just getting people talking about it. Don't give them the oxygen of publicity. You are your own worst fucking enemy. You are an idiot. And yes, I don't mind others' bad behaviour as long as it helps them to harass and destroy people or a product they don't like. On this very thread, I noticed that him, bro. I hate Tommy Tallarico. Oh, mommy, well, the boy at school said something. He didn't like me. People don't like me. Not everyone will like you. Not everyone will like you. You seemed an okay guy at first when the whole Amico thing started, and then after like cancellation after cancellation, and then with the fundable, it just reeks of scam. That's why at this point in time I don't like you, because it seems like an absolute scam. You go on my DVD Fever website, you look up the name Mark Pollard, you see what a scam shit show I went through with him, and what I lost with him. This is why I think it's like happening on a grand scale with the Amico. The people losing $10,000 a time, if not more. People who've invested, we all know who's invested the money. At least some of them. I don't want people to lose any money. I wish I could wave a magic wand and stop anyone being scammed by anyone after my experience. And I can see this all happening again though. I can see you taking these $10,000 and more, and then fucking off with the whole lot. But Steam Powder, I hate Tommy Tallarico, and they'll go on to say the reason he is doing all this to save investors from being scammed. So destroying a product and company that people have invested in is helping to save those investors. Gotcha, nice try. I mean, you shouldn't be just mentioning them. I mean, it sounds like he's just describing what I've just described myself. It's just, but I mean, it does sound like a scam. But you know, Tommy, your best action would have been just not to mention it at all. I'd never heard of steam-powered internet. I'd never heard of Tony TGD, whoever that is, or Tommy Poopy Pants. You know, I think I'd heard the Tommy Poopy Pants on Reddit, but I've not seen the others, and I don't really care. But now you've given them the oxygen of publicity, and by playing to the crowd, you're playing to your stalkers, and you will just get them doing it even more. I've got a stalker of 12 years, who's the one I've reported to the police, who came to my house even. He even comments with various Reddit accounts on my posts on Reddit, and he's been reported against the police. But I don't reply back to him. He'll comment on my posts. If I replied back to him, he would just reply again, and he would think I would be giving him the oxygen of publicity, and he would then be continuing to harass me. The best thing to do is not reply. He won't know that I've not seen it. He won't know that I've seen it, and then he might go away for a bit. But if I reply, or if I mention his name in like a fucking huge Reddit thread like this, it will just get him to continue on and on even further. You are your own worst enemy. I do have to apologise for my voice. I mean, I've got rid of my cold to the point that in that it doesn't, dominate my life at the moment. But I'm talking a lot in this video, and it's just grinding my voice down. I was going to do a let's play for a game in a bit, but I'm going to just play the game and not do a let's play. But anyway, we'll just continue and we'll get through the rest of this. Politics. I don't talk politics online. The few times I did, trying to show both sides of an argument, it quickly devolved and I decided it wasn't worth it. I voted all these different parties. I sometimes vote for the person, sometimes for the policies, but never because of the party they're in. Quite frankly, I'm not really interested in politics anymore. There are windy pops again. There are millions of people who follow it, and I know a lot more who do. So I don't feel qualified to discuss it, especially in public. I do find it interesting that those smear campaigns against me never point out that I follow the likes of Obama, Republican-hating Bill Maher, or progressives like Jimmy Dore. I don't know who Jimmy Dore is. Or others who talk to both sides like Russell Brand or Joe Rogan. I guess that doesn't match the false narrative. I like hearing both sides and then making a decision. But again, I'm more an onlooker and not an activist in any way, shape or form. That's a completely empty paragraph. I don't talk politics online, but I will just waffle a big paragraph of nothing, just to fill time. And you go, this is such a fucking waste of space. This whole post. Why is he doing it? You're not helping yourself. That's all. I think we're nearly at the end though. Some other political thoughts. Do I believe in gay marriage? Yes. Am I a white supremacist? Hell no. For all these stalkers obsessed with dragging out my 20-year posting history, I always find it interesting how they never talk about how I post and praise some of my heroes like Martin Luther King, Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson, Derek Jeter, etc. I enjoy the drama of watching liberals and conservatives making points to each other. It doesn't mean I agree or support either side. So it's a very odd paragraph. It's like Tommy's just said. She said, "Oh, some people think I don't like black people. I love black people. Here's a list of people. Here's a list of black people I like." It sounds like when David Cameron, our former Prime Minister who started the whole Brexit thing, he was doing like a talk in a bread I was going to say a bread factory, a bakery they call it, a bread factory, a bakery, and he started waffling on about buying a bread maker. Yeah, because when you go to give a talk in a bakery, what they really want to hear is you talking about your bread maker. Who the fuck has a bread maker? I don't have a bread maker. I just when a loaf is about £1 from the supermarket, why the fuck would you have a bread maker? Who's got time to make their own bread and with all the cost involved? When you just buy it for a fucking idiot. The man was an idiot, but he just dropped in. I met a 40-year-old black man. It was just like, what? I met a 40-year-old black man. And it's just that's about as much as he can describe somebody. You know, that's his idea of trying to get down with the voters by just, here's a black man I met. It was a very odd turn of phrase. And it's like Tommy here just saying, hey, these are all my heroes. They're all black people. I like black people. Well, I don't know who's saying you don't. It just seems an odd thing to bring up. And again, just if some people are just coming out with, again, if say for example, if these people like Team Powered Internet was calling you a white supremacist and saying, yeah, let's say Steam Powered Internet said, Tommy said he hates black people, then it doesn't require you to come out and say, I don't dislike black people, I like black people. It doesn't require you to say that. All it requires you to do, Tommy, is just ignore him. It would just be to ignore the troll who's saying this stuff and just get on with your day. If people actually thought you were, a white supremacist or, someone like the skinheads, then they would have footage of you walking down like a London high street with skinhead tattoos and it was like, with a bald head and skinhead and doing Nazi salutes. But I'm guessing they don't have that footage because it doesn't exist, because it didn't happen. And so you don't have to justify by saying you're not a white supremacist, because you're not. And so you just ignore the trolls. That's all you have to do. You get people. I get people doing stupid things all the time. I've learned to ignore them. It takes a bit of time, trying to ignore people sometimes. But when people are trolling, just ignore them, and they eventually go away. Apart from my stalker of 12 years. You can look him up on my website, Rodney McPlum. Rodney, not Rodney, as in Rodney Trotter, but replace the D with a B for Bravo. Rodney McPlum, McPlum. Look him up. Absolute fucking weirdo. We continue. In closing, yes, we are being overly harassed every day for wanting to make a new video game console focusing on casual gamers and families. Yes, COVID has greatly affected our plans, and like all pre-revenue startup companies, especially ones hit hard over the past year and a half, we're still raising capital. Yes, I made mistakes, especially when dealing with online hate and harassment, and you shouldn't have done this thread. No, I do not think that anyone who is critical of what we're doing and all the mistakes I've made is a hater. The title goes to the overly obsessed and aggressive folks whose goal to destroy us and spend every day trying to misinform the public or come up with the next false conspiracy theory. Thanks for your time if you made this far. Again, you should just be ignoring, the people like the steam-powered internet and so on that are just basically saying, we don't like Tommy, and then you being like a kid at school going, Mummy, they don't like me. People like that, just ignore them. It might have been something you'd say when you're 10 years old and you just you feel compelled to mention it to your parents when you get home from school. But when you're 50 years old, you don't pay any mind to it whatsoever. You are derailing your own product. You're talking about other people derailing your product, basically. Sorry, I've just put an ice cube in my mouth. That was a bad idea. You're basically accusing other people of derailing your product, but what you're doing is you're derailing the product by paying attention to them and bringing them to our knowledge. You know, you didn't have to mention any of this, and we wouldn't even know about it. You could just say to the events, if they're trying to get you cancelled at an event, just say the other trolls, just ignore them. I'm sure the event, places, venues have dealt with people like that before, trying to cancel you on that, cancel events on other people's behalves illegally and immorally. I'm sure they've come across that before, so just ignore them. Don't give them any mind. Don't pay any mind to them whatsoever. You are your own worst enemy. But you continue. One final political thought, because I know it's come up. Yes, I've spoken about Columbus Day as a holiday because it's something that is important to me. I'm in the UK. I don't know when Columbus Day is. No idea. I don't care if folks want to change its name, understandable, but I also understand the reason that the first day, pardon me, but also understand that the reason the day was first given as a holiday to Italian Americans was because 12 Italian Americans were found innocent in a trial and then hung and murdered in the streets in the late 1800s. The holiday and cultural celebration was given as an apology for the horrific things the Italian immigrants went through, just like the Irish, the Polish, the indigenous people, and of course Latinos, Asians, Muslims, and African Americans, etc. My 80-year-old mother still tells stories of people throwing tomatoes at her when she was on her way to grade school, calling her I won't use the term here, and other names. I believe the indigenous people should have their own holiday and celebrate their incredible culture. I believe any group or culture should be celebrated here in the USA. Irish have St. Paddy's Day. It's St. Patrick's Day. Mexicans celebrate their culture on Cinco de Mayo and so on. Not everyone is represented but should be. What the fuck are you waffling about? Tommy, you are your own fucking worst enemy. What in the bloody fuck are you on about? Why are you bringing this up here? You're trying to make a games console, and you're going on about stuff like that. What goes on in your head? I really don't know. And there is a reply from one other person. Tom Weather. This was before the thread was locked. Austin Tommy, my heritage is similar, part Irish, part mix of European, Roma or Jewish. Unsure as we dropped name and religion when we fled Europe. Roma, I feel, is the fit, and as a Canadian, my joy is knowing that in 2 days we have a new federal holiday for Indigenous people here, and USA has not even started this process. We also have the same kind of people here that are brutal, hating everyone doing the good stuff. All good. This is our time. This is a maybe Tommy needs to start a political group for himself. Perhaps just make what he should do is have a separate username that's not identifiable as him, and go and have all these conversations about Columbus Day and God knows what else in that group, in that username, but keep his Tommy Tallarico name out of it. You know, just have a random additional name and go have all your waffly conversations about politics and fuck knows what over there, because you're taking the emphasis. You're blaming other people for taking the emphasis away from your Amico console and what you're trying to achieve with that, which let's not get into that again. But you're blaming other people for taking the emphasis away from it, and you're doing that by waffling on all this bollocks. Just keep all this out of it. God, you are your own worst enemy. If you take nothing away from today, Tommy, just apart from make sure you stocked up on Lemsip for a cold. Just you are your own worst enemy. Stop it. All this shit. All this bollocks. What the fuck? What a load of old fucking nonsense. Ugh. Well, Anyway, I'm off to blow my nose. Hope you enjoyed, listening to me waffle on about all this. Hope it doesn't go on for 3 hours. I'm, uh, you know, what can we do? We'll all be back for the new drama. The next slice of drama soon. I'm very sure. But I'm going to call it a day here. In the meantime, please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already. Hope you enjoyed the James Bond rant at the start. But yeah, please like this video, share with your friends, subscribe, blah blah blah. I lose track when I stop halfway through. Please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already, click on the bell for all the notifications, and cue Genesis.